Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Grow Academy Mutual Promise Night. We do have a translation available. If you need that, you can put in the chat. There's a function to switch there at the bottom.
I'm going to say it in Spanish, Ms. Webb, just in case.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a la reunión de promesas mutuas. Si ocupa la presentación en español, por favor, puede hacer clic a las opciones para hacer la interpretación y tenemos a la señora Díaz haciendo la traducción esta noche.
Thank you. We'll just wait a few minutes to get ready and admit everybody. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So this evening, there we go. Our objectives this evening are to discuss the mission and vision of Grow Academy Shafter, review the safety protocols, discuss parent engagement, review important forms, and of course, conduct our mutual promise. If you have any questions, please type that into the chat box and we will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. If there's anything that we can answer in the chat publicly, we will do that to try to answer your questions as you have them. So items that we will be reviewing in follow-up meetings include on-site visitors. This evening, we will be discussing a lot of the changes that CDC and CDPH just released in regard to our safety protocols. The one thing that we do anticipate gradually bringing back is the ability to have you all back on campus, which makes me so excited to announce. So we will be, as the year evolves, developing meaningful parent activities and agendas focused on student achievement and providing flexible volunteer and participation opportunities. So trying as much as possible to get back to pre-COVID happenings here on campus. So let's start with introductions. I'm Mrs. Webb, the school principal. We have Sarah Davis, the assistant principal of academics. I'm so excited to announce our very special, I was going to say special guest, but she's not really a special guest. She's an important part of our team now, Mrs. Lacey Harris, assistant principal of student services. I will give her just a minute here in a second to tell you all a little bit about herself. Of course, Miss Irene Montoya, our office manager, Crystal Ramos, attendance clerk, Wendy Elmore, our special education coordinator, Brittany Milwee and Amy Knoll, our school psychologists. We do have two, one full-time and one part-time on campus this year. Miss Salazar, our school counselor, and Miss Ramos, or Nurse Bonnie, as she is known here on campus. So without further ado, Mrs. Harris, would you like to say a few things about yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mrs. Webb. I'm very excited to be here tonight to meet all of you, even just virtually. My name is Lacey Harris, and I have been a Kern County educator for 15 years. I specialize mostly in early literacy and the overall success of all scholars. So I'm very excited to be joining the Grow Academy team this year. I'm also a mother of two, so I feel that, you know, our best educators have experience with those kiddos, even in the home setting. And so I'm going to be bringing that perspective as well to the team. And I'm just really looking forward to supporting all of our scholars and our teachers and staff.
Thank you so much. We're excited to have you. Her first official day is tomorrow on campus, so she's ours. Okay. I want to take a moment. Some of you may have seen we've been sharing our new teacher feature on social media. So I'm just going to take a moment to go through this slideshow and provide you with just a glimpse of some new faces. The slideshow will progress at about 3 seconds a slideshow, so there isn't quite time for you to read the text. I will make it public, but just a sense of the faces that you'll be seeing around campus. It is in order, so starting with our kindergarten team through middle school, and here we go. So some of you might have noticed that those faces are familiar. Some of our teachers are returning to Grow Academy. They were either former employees or SGIs, and we hired some of our guest teachers, our substitutes, who helped us throughout the year as well. So a lot of familiar faces joining the permanent fixture of Grow Academy this year. So our mission statement, I'm going to just read this directly. Our mission is for Grow Academy Arvin and Grow Academy Shafter K-8 public schools to close the opportunity gap for students in the rural areas of Kern County by creating an environment for student excellence and well-being. We believe educational excellence is achieved when health and wellness is at the center of a child's learning environment, through a process of continuous learning and growth, offering new educational opportunities and creating an environment of achievement for all students. As a result, students achieve academically, emotionally, and physically, maximizing their individual potential to be prepared for the rigors of college, career, and life. And I am so excited to share with you this evening how we plan to accomplish that. So with the change to Grow Academy, we do have new uniforms coming. If you have ordered new uniforms. Miss Adriana is putting in those orders every day so that they arrive just as soon as possible. We are also anticipating the arrival of patches that we will be able to semi-professionally use a heat press to on current uniforms. We're waiting on those patches to arrive. The heat presses did come in today. So we are hopeful to be able to put our new logo on current uniforms. Nothing much has changed with the uniforms. Our colors are the same. So kindergarten through 5th grades are a white or blue polo. 6th through 8th grades are a white or gray polo, khaki or navy bottoms. So this year we are allowing navy bottoms as well. In a lot of our parent feedback sessions, we did hear, you know, our colors are on the lighter side. So we did want to offer a wider variety of colors to help mitigate, you know, the staining and the continuous washing of the uniform. So I'm excited to have navy bottoms this year as well, white socks and black or white shoes. This year, everybody will be receiving one polo at no charge. And then again, the patches are coming, and as of right now, we do anticipate being able to provide 2 patches for every scholar. And have there been any questions come through, Ms. Davis?
There was a question about black socks.
Yeah.
And Irene stated that white socks are the policy as they have traditionally been.
Okay, thank you. All right, health and safety. So our health and safety practices have shifted. We did receive recent guidance, I believe Monday, that is going to allow us to restore our practices very much so to pre-COVID. So we are still very strict adherence to the CDC, CDE, CDPH, and Cal OSHA guidance. So even though we are seeing some of those restrictions loosen up, we still very much are looking towards guidance as a public school to help us stay safe. So we will continue with our at-home daily screenings. Face coverings in the state of California must be worn indoors. Face coverings outdoors are optional once the school day begins. And so what this means for us here at GA is when scholars are outdoors in the garden, in an outdoor learning space, at recess or a break, they have the option to not wear their face covering. So face coverings for our staff will continue to be required during drop-off and pickup because of parent interaction. Classrooms will be restored to their pre-COVID configuration. So there is no longer guidance for 6 feet or 3 feet or any distance for that matter of social distancing. We will be very mindful as we come back in terms of keeping our scholars safe, you know, a safe distance. We were talking about personal space. I like to do the hug, like this is your personal space. So very much the same things we were talking about pre-COVID, respecting people's personal space. Imagine a hula hoop around you. We will still continue to share those ideas with our scholars. Enhanced ventilation protocols are still in place. Our air filters, our air purifiers, our UV lighting remain in the classrooms. We have not, taken those out. Hand washing stations will remain on campus to promote healthy habits. We did make a purchase for those, so we are no longer contracting out, which was part of our reopening plan, but we saw the value in just even after play outside, scholars being able to access those hand washing stations with ease rather than going into the bathroom. So we did make those purchases. So we do have our hand washing stations around campus. I believe we purchased 7 of them. Meal service will resume in the cafe to include pre-COVID menu entrees and the salad bar. So we are no longer required for individual packaging of our lunches. We will resume pre-COVID protocols in the cafe. The salad bar, there is a nuance to that. We will have an attendant serving at the salad bar. So that is the one thing that will be a little different than before. We will continue the use of thermal scanners upon entry just to catch any fevers, you know, and make sure that our scholars are healthy upon arrival. That may fade out. It is no longer a requirement, but it's just something that we feel like we can do to keep in place to help keep our community safe. We are very, very proud of the fact that since we reopened in October, we continue to have a 0 transmission rate amongst our staff and our scholars, and so we plan to keep it that way with every every protocol that we can. So, and then we will continue, of course, our frequent cleaning and disinfecting of all classrooms and facilities. Okay. Morning drop-off procedures and pickup will remain the same because we want to mitigate any potential spread. We just really need some additional time to evaluate what visitors on campus looks like and to take every precaution necessary. You know, we just don't want to open the floodgates. So we will continue to have that valet service style morning drop-off procedures the exact same. So walkers will continue to come in through the walker gate at the front of the school, and then the drop-off line. If we need to serpentine through the parking lot, we absolutely will do that. But I feel towards the end of the year, it got pretty fluid and worked really well in the morning. Now after school, there was a little bit more congestion, but I feel like we got pretty good at systematizing after school. Same thing, walkers will come out this same gate. 3rd and 2nd grade will wait at the front of the school. We will have 1st and kindergarten on the inside gate to keep them, you know, off that main entryway there. 4th and 5th and middle school will be back in the back. Fantastic news, we will have ACEs this year. So, so that is starting. I believe we are still looking at when the start date is. So we're looking at around like the 2nd week of school. So as soon as possible, but to just give us a little bit of time to get going with the school year. But Miss Irene made a fantastic point the other day when we were talking about logistics, is that we are hopeful that with the ACEs program back in the afternoons, that will also help with the congestion after school. So hopefully the traffic won't be quite as bad after school with some of our scholars back in our ACEs program. So very excited to be offering ACEs back. With that, early drop-off will also start back up. We were not able to offer that this year due to the requirements of cohorting. But we are able to open the gates early. We are still talking about that, but we're thinking about 7:15 to allow early drop-off for our scholars. So lots of good news coming for the upcoming school year. One thing with changes, pedestrian safety is always, safety in general is just always our #1 priority. With the picking up of walkers and drop off potentially, I just want to remind everybody of, you know, walking through the parking lots or calling children through the parking lots, through the drop off zone. Everybody, I mean, you know, we're driving, but we're also looking for our children. And so sometimes, you know, our eyes aren't in front of our car. And so we have to be very mindful of, you know, calling kids through the pickup lane and in between cars. And they're little people too. So a lot of times, you know, those little heads just aren't quite even, you know, over the tops to be seen. So please be very, very mindful. As a staff, we will be asking, you know, if anybody comes into the parking lots or calling kids, we will ask or for everybody to remain on the sidewalks and to use the crosswalks. So I really do appreciate you guys understanding, the need to keep everybody safe. We try our very best to get everybody in and out, but always with safety in mind.
Mrs. Webb,
Mhm.
we have quite a few questions in the chat. If we could just pause and maybe
Yes.
answer some of them. So lots of questions about whether siblings will be able to go together after school to pick up their younger siblings in class. Can you speak to this?
So can I tell you what we did used to do a little bit? So what typically, if a student had a younger sibling, they would go to the younger classrooms and they would get picked up by the parents there. So being that, you know how we had the Walker Gate at the end of the last year, they would all just meet at the Walker Gate. We are gonna line up the smaller kids by class. That way, when the older siblings come out, they just go and just get their siblings and walk out through the Walker Gate.
So for pickup, I think we would just need a little bit more time to discuss, if it worked very well at the Walker Gate. It gave us time to ensure that was happening. But if we're driving through the pickup line, we would just have to reevaluate what that looks like. The one thing that we don't want is to have a bunch of kids or a bottleneck occur where we have all the older kids then coming to the front of the school. So we would have to really evaluate what that would look like in terms of the valet style. But I'm happy to get back with a solid plan on that.
For the question about ACE's priority prior to COVID, no, that is always the same thing every year. The ACES sign-up sheet is sent with the mutual promise paperwork. So it is in there, and it's still a first come, first serve basis because we only take 30 students from each grade. So that form was mailed out to parents last Tuesday. So a majority of the parents have came by this week and already turned it in, and it's helped me a lot just to get ahead and get everything ready for you guys. But it is a first come, first serve basis. If you did not receive your package for whatever reason, please give us a call to the office tomorrow. We can scan it or email it to you, whatever is easiest, but ACES, that remains the same as every year.
Thank you, Irene.
Yes, thank you. We still have some questions, and there was a question about whether parents will be able to go into campus on the first day of school. We are working on, well, we're not working on it, we're going to. Instead of doing home visits this year, do conferences inviting the families into school so that we have an opportunity for parents and students to come onto campus together to see their classrooms, to meet their teachers and sit down and talk about all of the things that we've talked about previously in home visits. So there will be an opportunity for parents and students to come onto campus together on a scheduled basis next week.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Yeah, unfortunately, at this time on the first day of school, we still are not able to have an open campus for that. So for kinder camp, though, we are able to have parents walk kiddos to their class for kinder camp. And so hopefully, the idea of kinder camp is to get kiddos ready for what school looks like. And so that will be part of it. So you'll have the opportunity for those first day of school photos to make sure they get to the right place and to practice where they go in advance. So we do have plans in place for visiting classrooms.
Perfect. And then there was another question. I'm sorry, there's just, is the drop-off time in the morning confusion about whether it's 7 o'clock or 7:15?
So that's just early drop-off. So the office opens at 7. So literally we get here at 7 o'clock in the morning, the gates open. So our staff needs just a little bit of time to get those gates open up the office, get settled in before we welcome scholars on. So that early drop-off time will be 7:15, and then the school day starts at 7:50. So drop-off time will be 7:15 to 7:50 in the morning. And instruction starts at 7:50. So really 7:15 to 7:45-ish to give kiddos time to walk the class and get there in time for lunch.
Thank you. That addresses most of the questions that haven't been addressed in chat. I will continue to do my best to answer them.
Okay. Thank you. Miss Bonnie, do you want to present on these things since I know we talked about the slides, but the health and wellness, I know you're the one that usually checks the lunches. So if you're good, I'll turn it over to you. Fantastic.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So prior to COVID, we did collect all of the lunch pails, and I did go through. We do ask that we try to maintain our health and wellness policy on campus. So we do want the kids to avoid, sodas, snacks. We do want them to eat from the salad bar. So we have a list on screen, and we have it available in the office. And I know it did go out with the mutual promise paperwork. So we will continue this year to continue to check the lunches and make sure everybody's maintaining our health and wellness policy for lunch. So again, for the health and wellness, we do want to encourage your children to try at least one new food every day. We are a nut-free campus. So part of me checking the lunches includes checking for peanut butter sandwiches, checking for peanuts. And if a child does bring them, I do hold them in the office and I will let you know. But we do try to avoid that at all, at every time we try to avoid it. And we will provide a birthday celebration to every child during their birthday month. Okay, so morning daily home screenings. This will be conducted by the parents. If your child has any COVID-related symptoms, please reach out to me. You can reach me directly at the school line or at my email. The symptoms are provided if they have a fever, chills, cough, difficulty breathing, runny nose, congestion, nausea, vomiting, anything. Just call the office and let myself or Miss Crystal know. If you believe your student was exposed to an individual who tested positive or is exhibiting symptoms, please, again, contact me as soon as possible. And then if your student does feel ill during the school day, we may monitor them separately and I will call you for pickup. For medications and allergies, if your child has any food or any type of allergy, please contact the office. We did send out the notifications or the paperwork in the mutual promise packets. If your child takes any medications, we do need that form to be filled out and submitted. It should be signed by a doctor. That does include inhalers and EpiPens. If there's any lactose intolerance or anything that you can think of, please just let me know so we can let the cafe and the kitchen staff know as well. Your children are not allowed to carry medication in any kind in their backpack. So just let us know and we will work with you if they need something, we'll call you, but just keep us updated. And that's it.
So there's a question, Nurse Bonnie, of a parent asked, so if a child has a normal cold flu symptoms, they will not be allowed to come to school?
Just call us, call the office and let us know as soon as they start exhibiting symptoms, and I'll call you and we'll work something out. We will most likely need a doctor's note, but it's case by case and we'll definitely reach out to you and figure out a plan.
Okay. There was also another question, is lotion Aquaphor considered a medication?
I would prefer that they did not have it on campus, just in case there's another student that reaches in the backpack and gets it, or if someone else has a sensitivity, I'd prefer we keep it off campus.
This also, parents, this also includes cough drops, things like that, any chewable medication, it's still a medication. If a child has it in their backpack for whatever reason, in their pocket, they drop it, another kid thinks it's candy and stick it in their mouth, it's not safe. So please do not send your kiddos with any sort of medication or any cough drops. It's just for their safety. We rather keep it that way.
Thank you. So moving on to school-wide behavior systems, a couple of terms that I want to associate with what we're about to discuss is positive behavior interventions and supports. So you might hear staff talk about PBIS, and then multi-tier system of support, which is often referred to MTSS. So here at GA, we have a restorative approach to what could be considered like our discipline or our discipline plans. So we really focus on relationships, developing caring connections, and finding common ground with our scholars, respect, listening to others' opinions and valuing them. This works both ways, right? With our kids and our adults on campus. Responsibility, being accountable for actions taken, restoration, repairing harm that has been caused. So a lot of times what this looks like is if a scholar has wronged somebody or say litter or defaced something, we not only talk about it, but we then restore. So if somebody has thrown, wet paper towels on the walls, right? We're going to talk about that. And then if the opportunity allows, we might have them go in or follow Mr. Darren, who is our facilities manager, and help to clean that up. So we don't want to be just punitive all the time in terms of like miss a recess or, have a detention. We don't do those things here. We really want our scholars to learn like the right way to do things or the proper behavior. And then reintegration, ensuring that all remain included and involved. And inclusion, as we talk about our full inclusion program here at GA with our special education scholars, full inclusion is very important to us. So making sure that all scholars feel welcomed and valued at all times. So our expectations for students, we usually talk about coming to school on time and being prepared and wearing their uniform and all of those things. And our comic creed really envelops all of our expectations for scholars. Hopefully you have heard your scholar perform the comic creed. It's something that we do as a class every morning. As I started the morning message, I had scholars perform the comic creed and record it, and we featured them, and that's something that I look forward to in the future. So if any of you have kiddos that are excited to come back to school and want to lead the comic creed, I encourage you to ask them about them and please record them and send it to me, and we can feature them in the morning message. We also recorded like full classes, and so that's something that we will continue to do too. During kinder camp, our kinder babies will be learning the comic creed as well. So that is what we expect from our scholars. And comments and the comic creed stands for compassionate, that they are observant, that they are motivated, encouraging, trustworthy, and scholarly. We do use Kickboard as part of our positive behavior program. Kickboard does allow weekly behavior reports. We like to focus on their positive behaviors. We record the student behavior, and it does have a parent portal that we plan on providing access to all parents with. All instructional staff on campus are able to give bonuses and deductions to our scholars via Kickboard. We also have purchased licenses for first grade through 8th grade at this time. What was that?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Mrs. Diaz's internet dropped her as an interpreter, and she is in as a guest. So we do need to pause and address that.
Okay, let me, Miss Irene, would you mind reaching out to Bobadilla and seeing what we need to do in terms of, if she's now a guest, I'm not sure what we need to do on the back side. So
while we're waiting on that, we do have quite a few questions in chat. I don't want to move forward with the presentation until we have interpretation available. So is it okay with you if we address some of these?
Absolutely. I think it's a perfect time.
Great. So again, we'll be scheduling parent-teacher conferences in which we would love for you to bring your child and all of the members of your household, just like we would a typical home visit, so that you can walk your child into campus and see their classroom and all of those things, as a way to lower everyone's affective filter, since unfortunately, due to the CDC and CDHP guidelines, we currently cannot welcome parents back on campus, but that is one of our highest priorities, is to start getting back to where we were with having parents and families on campus all of the time. Mrs. Webb, there are questions about, or maybe Nurse Bonnie, about for students who can't medically go to school, for students who come in contact with a positive person, for students who have cold and flu symptoms, as distance learning will no longer be available moving forward.
Right. So we always encourage, and Ms. Bonnie, please interject, but everything is a case-by-case basis, right? We do defer to our protocol pre-COVID in terms of, like, if your kid is vomiting or has a fever, absolutely keep them home, monitor them, but always reach out to Bonnie. There is a protocol. If we have to get Isabella, our COVID liaison, involved, we absolutely will do that as well. But right now, communication is key. There isn't necessarily like a one-size-fits-all response. So just even the slightest concern, Nurse Bonnie will be able to advise.
Yes, so I was just going to say the same thing. It is case by case. So just reach out, call the office, and then I will work with you just to ensure what we need to do, what the next steps are.
There's a lot of concern about like kids getting sick during the winter, and what does that look like? I know we went through this last winter with trying to keep kids in school as much as possible. So just a little bit of reassurance that we want kiddos in school as much as we can have them here safely.
Every single effort will be made to address. I know we have things like asthma and seasonal allergies and things like that, and so we are prepared to be very mindful about, is it seasonal allergies? There is new guidance regarding testing and quarantining and all of those things, and that will be shared out as soon as it has been entirely defined by the organization and our legal team. But rest assured that that everything that needs to be put into place has been put into place, and I just can't stress enough the communication with the front office in terms of questions about a possible exposure, or like, I know he has seasonal allergies and it's just dry, itchy, red eyes.
So we're getting the question about class lists being posted. So for grades 1st through 8th, class lists will be posted the Friday before school starts. For kinder, we will post them this week.
Friday.
So Friday. So we're gonna post them on Friday so you guys know what teacher your kinder student has. The remainder of the list will be posted next Friday in front of the school.
Part of that too, there could be a slight chance for our kinder students that their classes might change. Part of kinder camp also is an opportunity for us to see academic placement and social emotional needs, behaviors. Like if there's in a week, whatever we can see in a week, right? I mean, it's not a lot of time, but We might go, oh, you know what, this behavior might be, paired really well with this teaching style, or this learning need might be paired, so we might have some adjustments. I don't anticipate too many. We do want the consistency for our scholars, of course, but just keep that in mind. And if we do see a potential for a change, we will have a conversation. So just kind of keep that in mind, that with our kinders, there is, plus we don't know too, there might be a personal need, like a family member, like we don't want the siblings or the cousins together. And so please, if there's anything that you see regarding those kinds of things, let us know as well.
There was also a question about if the list can be shared out through Parent Square, or like our social media. In the past, we didn't do it just for privacy. Do you want to just,
purposes, unfortunately, we cannot share via any kind of electronic transmission.
I know there's one for Nurse Bonnie. Will face shields still be acceptable? Nurse Bonnie. Oh.
In what capacity? For phonological reasons, face shields in the classroom are permissible. For example, if we have, in our early grade levels, it's very important to see, how letters and sounds and movement of mouth. So our younger students, again, for phonological needs, face shields can be worn in the classroom, but only under those circumstances, or for scholars on like an individualized education plan who, may be hard of hearing and need to read lips. We have face shields for those reasons as well. Did I miss anything, Bonnie, with that? Is there anything in part?
No, that was all good. That was it.
Interpretation is currently up and running, and I do want to be respectful of everyone's time this evening, so we are ready to move forward. Miss Irene Montoya will be answering questions in the chat unless she is presenting, so feel free. We want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and safe coming back to school, and that we are supporting the needs of all of our families that we serve.
Thank you. Okay, we're about halfway through. So accountability for individual scholars. So we want to reward all of those positive behaviors. So via Kickboard, we cash out their bonuses every weekly. They receive a check. Last year, we were not able to print out a physical check, but this year we will be returning to that practice. They are able to purchase things like principal chair for the day and a slime party and those types of activities. Just like, in the real world, how like we get bonuses for our work performance and things, we want to reward our scholars for, going above and beyond and making smart choices. So other rewards are also listed here. They can purchase, fun school supplies, new GA Shafter swag, incentive trips and in-school activities, and of course, fun with friends and teachers as well. Okay. So, like I just mentioned, paychecks are sent home weekly, and we are always looking for ways to partner with families, so communicating with teachers first if you have any questions, to speak positively about school policies and adults on campus, and to also set goals at home. So because of that parent portal, it provides an opportunity for you to talk with your scholars about like, hey, I saw that you got a deduction today. Let's talk about that. Or, hey, you got, double your bonuses today. Great job. And setting goals at home is also very helpful to help our students grow in the way we want them to. We hope they do, right, as they mature. So home to school partnerships include ensuring children arrive to school on time every day. So instruction does start at 7:50. Staying at school for the entire school day. So I'm a mom too, and I know that sometimes it's very challenging to schedule appointments and things outside of the school day, especially since we have a little bit longer of a school day. But we really do hope that you're able to schedule during some of our breaks that we have throughout the year. Actively talking to your child about their schoolwork every night, attending parent nights, which I'm so excited to be even talking about bringing them back at this point, academic parent-teacher teams, and other school activities. Committing to completing 30 hours of family engagement. Miss Irene will speak to that a little bit more specifically here in a minute. Ensuring your child is in uniform every day. Now, I know things happen, for all different kinds of scenarios. Please, 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 regardless of the situation, bring your kiddo to school. We can always help them here in the office if for whatever reason, a uniform got left at another parent's house, or, some coffee spilled on them in the morning and we didn't have another one to wear. Like, I always really want you guys to feel comfortable, sharing those things with us. And we are equipped here to have something for them to wear. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they need to keep their scholar home because of uniform, situations. So we're here to help you and to partner with you on the uniform. Support teacher recommendations for your child's success, and then communicate with your scholars, educators often. Also reach out to the admin team. I mean, the office, I respond to Parent Square often. I love engaging, with our parents via emailing and answer questions too. So never, ever think we're too busy. We're very busy throughout the day, but also very eager to engage with our parents as well. Okay. With all of those incentives, I do want to make it a point to speak to our anti-bullying policy. We do take bullying and targeted events very, very seriously here. It is a violation of the law, and we do preach, the restorative practices and respect and all of those things. So I want to make it very clear to everybody that bullying just is not tolerated. At first signs of any kind of harm to others, we will be reaching out and making parent contact. I know at times it might appear that nothing is happening, but as long as we know about it, right? As long as we know that there's an issue occurring, we are making every effort to right those wrongs and to repair those relationships. It's just not publicized, right? We just don't share out like consequences or conversations that we have with other people's children. But I am happy to always sit down with families and invite you here on campus now. I can do that, right? To have conversations about, what's in the best interest of your children. Okay, and this kind of summarizes all of that. If a child doesn't know how to behave, we teach them, right? We're always looking for ways to help our scholars grow and mature and become good humans. So we try to refrain from punishing and detention type scenarios and really look at every choice and every opportunity as just that, an opportunity to learn and grow. Okay, time for Miss Davis. Oh, I gotta ask you to unmute. There we go.
Sorry about that. It's like I need a coffee mug that says you're on mute. Sorry, I needed to close the chat. There's lots of questions about the minimum day. The minimum day will continue to be on Wednesdays as it was in the year prior. The purpose of minimum days, which are at the expense of spending time with our scholars, is to provide quality professional development to our teachers. And last year, having professional development days on Wednesdays as opposed to Fridays was much more effective and much more impactful. So we have to be mindful about what is worth sacrificing 2 hours of time with our scholars being on campus. And the only way that can be justified is to provide the teachers with quality professional learning so that they can refine their practice and serve your scholars better. With that being said, school will continue to start at 7:50 a.m. I know that there was a lot of apprehension about campus opening at 7:15. We have lost all of our classroom aides, not SGIs, but the aide position, unless they're special ed, as well as recess coaches. And so that has had tremendous impacts on our personnel and staffing. But I want to give everyone my word that this is my priority to make a schedule that supports as many of our families as possible. And I will do everything in my power to get campus open promptly at 7 a.m. So that we can have at least one person supervising those handful of students whose families need that time to commute to work. School is going to end at 3:40 as always. And our minimum days, like I said, will be on Wednesdays, and that will be, school will be out at 1:10. During these times, our students I'll talk about that later. I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize.
So lots of questions about the aides. So the aides are what? Irene's shaking her head. The aides essentially transitioned into the SGI role. So we did not necessarily lose them all. We still have all of the amazing, you guys, I love it because everybody's like, oh no, you lost your aides. They're amazing. Nope.
Bad
nope.
verbiage, sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
yeah.
They transitioned into a new role. So they are, what was once the classroom aide position has now evolved into a small group instructor role, which does allow for like some pay increases and more interaction with scholars in the instructional setting. So it really is more of a promotion into a new role. And of course, now in the SGI role, we're seeing our aides turn into SGIs and evolve into our educators, our teachers too. We hired 2 SGIs this year. So just to clarify that.
Sorry.
Yeah, guys. So all of our classroom aides are not classroom aides anymore. They are SGIs. We did not lose anybody. Trust me. They're all SGIs now. They just moved into another position that allows us to really work with them and coach them into, potentially being teachers one day. So it's just a good opportunity for them to grow professionally. So we still have our aides. Trust me.
We don't have aides. Our aides
But not aides,
are
SGIs. Yes.
They're SGIs.
SGIs.
And our goal is to coach and refine their practice and recruit them for future teachers for Grimway Academy. Sorry that verbiage was so scary to everyone. The point is we want as many students to be served with personal learning as possible. And our SGIs really allow us to provide what's in our charter and what is a cornerstone of our beliefs in our organization is that personalized learning opportunities really help students access grade level content and maximize their growth. Nothing has changed with special education aides. Moving forward to our next slide.
Oh, that would be me. Okay.
So our students will continue, we will continue to celebrate scholars and support them with social emotional learning through college crews. So our college crews will get points, and we will have crews of the week and special celebrations for crews who exhibit the following characteristics here on the right, which are collaborative, respectful, engaged, and wellness, and safe. We are really looking forward to the more flexible CDHP guidelines that are going to allow us to reinstate gatherings and celebrations and make school the fun and inviting and warm place that it needs to be. We are going to have the students vote for the names of the college crews moving forward. So be on the lookout for that. We are looking for student agency and student buy-in as we build a strong community within the school setting.
Thank you. So I just want to address the the chat is blowing up about a couple of things. The
Oh.
Friday dismissal. I will discuss that a little bit more towards the end. Ms. Davis did provide I mean, exactly why that decision was made. With not being able to walk scholars on the first day, that was something that we weren't able to do this year either. It is a practice that I am very hopeful that we get back to, but the purpose of instead of doing home visits, which also comes with some complexity, doing parent-teacher conferences gives you guys the space to come onto campus at a staggered sessions, and bring your scholar onto campus the week before school starts to not only meet their teacher, see their learning environment, but to also show them where their class is. So, so that is a possibility. And I will absolutely share all of your comments regarding Fridays. We'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Grow Public Schools will provide all of the materials that students need, and there is a list of some of the materials that will be provided. Of course, if there are any additional materials, we will provide those to students so that they can engage in rich learning activities throughout the instructional day.
One thing to add to, we asked that all additional supplies remain at home and that those are special fun school supplies for home use, is that sometimes they can cause some turmoil at school in terms of going missing or being taken. And so that's the reason or the rationale for all of those special smelly markers and poofy pin tops and all of the things that are fun and alluring to others. We just don't want anything to happen to them.
If your child is in need of fidgets, this last school year, the Poppets became exceptionally popular. Several years ago, it was fidget spinners. That is something that the school can provide to students as a tool, not a toy, based on their individual learning needs. So if this is something that you feel that your child needs to be successful, please reach out to your Scholars Crew teacher, and we will work in partnership with you to provide those items to be used as tools in the classroom and not toys.
Also, just keep in mind, parents, it's a good idea to kind of check your kiddos' backpacks. Some people bring their DSs, they'll bring money to school, and it's stuff that, you know, the backpacks are hung outside where kids do transition. So it's just so everybody doesn't, you know, lose their property for any reason. It's not smart. Kids don't need money on campus, nor do they need their video games. So please keep all of that at home.
You know, Irene, that's also a good segue into, I don't believe we have anything regarding cell phones. I know we have had a pretty strict cell phone policy in the past where they were actually collected and stored here in the office. Cell phones are contained in the classrooms in a cell phone container and locked away for security, as to also not be a distraction during the day and to keep them safe. And then the teachers pass them out at the end of the day once scholars are dismissed. So just so you know, cell phones and cell phone usage are not permitted on campus as well.
Are we good? I've just closed the chat so that, because I feel like I'm being distracted and I want to be well spoken. Are we okay to move forward into the schedule? I know you had said that you're going to reiterate the importance of having the minimum day on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's actually a slide at the end, so.
Great. So diving a little bit more deeply into our schedule, our kindergarten classrooms will be self-contained. So the kindergarten students will be with the same teacher all day long. We're going to continue to use Kinder Corner and Kinder Roots as always. Pardon me. These students will receive their elective classes like art, music, PE, kitchen, and garden, and also receive opportunity for personalized and blended learning, just as all of our other scholars do. We begin and end every day with a launch and landing to support social emotional learning, and we lean a little bit more deeply into that on Wednesdays as well, which we'll cover. The first grade through fifth grade schedule is actually very similar with the exception of lunchtime. So due to more flexibility with the CDC and CDHP guidelines, we are able to group students by ability, again, for a literacy block to provide students with instruction at their current levels of mastery rather than at grade level content. So we will be reinstating literacy block as we have traditionally had in years prior after launch class. Then students will move into 3 90-minute periods where they will have time with their STEM teacher who teaches math and science standards, their humanities co-teachers who focus on the ELA standards and the social studies or social sciences rather standards. And then the learning lab is the third class, in which there will be a credentialed teacher and an SGI for each of the first through third grade classes. Students will be receiving differentiated instruction at their current levels of mastery to help fill in learning gaps and increase their access to the grade level content. Again, we'll end the day with landing to close the loop, and we have a 1-hour lunchtime and recess included, where students will be provided with structured recess activities as they have in years prior. Again, very similar for 4th and 5th grade, with the exception of a different lunchtime. So we have literacy block, 3 periods, and launch and landing for those students as well. For our middle school students, middle school will be 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We have hired a wonderful team of middle school teachers and co-teachers to help support us now that we are fully, not staffed, but at full capacity for K through 8th grade students for the first time. So these students will be going through 6 block rotations each day for 1 hour, in addition to their launch and landing and 1-hour lunch. These 6 classes will consist of math, science, ELA, social studies, lab, and elective, as well as a PE class. And then for our minimum days schedule, students will be staying with their homeroom teachers. This is where we will continue to have literacy block on Wednesdays to help mitigate the learning interruption that we experienced over the last 18 months with the impact that the pandemic had on the school, all schools, not just the school. And after we have our literacy block, we will have time for social emotional learning. We are using Getting Along Together, as we have always used throughout the duration of GA Shafter. We will hold class council meetings, and students will be taking their weekly assessments, as well as completing their ILPs and receiving their all the traditional paperwork that they used to receive, like their Kickboard paychecks and things of that nature. And that's it for me. I have kept the chat close so that I could stay focused and deliver a concise message to the families. Before we move into the mutual promise forms, is there any questions that have yet to be addressed that I can address at this time?
One question about first through third graders getting a snack break.
Yes, everyone gets a snack break because first through third graders have lunch a little bit earlier in the day. Their snack break will be in the afternoon, whereas for fourth and fifth graders who have lunch a little bit later in the day, they will have a snack recess in the mornings.
There is a question specific for you. Ms. Davis, will you be reaching out to students and parents for meetings with you and the teacher to discuss personal learning plans with students who may be struggling?
That is more the role of our intervention coordinator, Mrs. Madison Anderholt. She will be monitoring intervention for all of the students in all of the grade levels, as well as working with students who need tier 2 instruction and will be put on an SST. So that's really going to be the main focus of her efforts this year. It goes without saying that I will be working in partnership with her and supporting her and facilitating that with her. But that is the main role of the intervention coordinator, which I'm afraid to say it's like not a new position, but we have revisited the roles and responsibilities of that position to better serve students on an individual basis. And we're very excited about what that's going to look and sound like in the year moving forward. I hope I didn't cause arms again. I'm also very excited about the SGIs we have and the program that we're offering to them so that they can get their credential while they work for us. It is a really fantastic opportunity, and we have some incredibly talented people working to support our kiddos in that capacity.
To that point, we also, when we identify a student that we're concerned about, I mean, in terms of, academics, the teacher gets involved, and then Madison, of course, gets involved, as does Miss Davis and myself. All of the people, the academic coaches, and we call a student success team meeting, and we really look at the data and hear parent concerns and voice our concerns and work together to look at that individualized learning plan and then really hone in and track the data to help us drive our instructional practice for those specific areas. So we do have something in place that's very systematic in terms of that question with the individualized learning plan.
Okay. Anything else that I can address before we move into our promises to you and your promises to us?
Okay, I don't think I see anything specifically.
Okay.
Everything in the chat too is being documented. Also, I'm a little distracted right now because I'm documenting all of the things so that I can get back to and look into. So there is questions about crosswalks and specific intersections. I will absolutely be looking into those needs in the assessment, especially each and every year we have to reassess. We've got a housing development that's going up. In the back of our school, we're looking at opening up a back gate eventually. So we're constantly looking at ways to improve how we serve the community and how we keep our scholars safe. So I absolutely appreciate the questions and the suggestions. I might not have an answer right now, but I have recorded it. And so I will get back to you regarding those specific placements and concerns. Other than that, I think that everything's still about the Friday, so I will address that here shortly. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Irene regarding mutual promise forms.
All righty. Can you switch to the slides for me, Ms. Webb?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, got it. All right, parents. So as we have for the last few years, we are in a program that allows us to have free breakfast, lunch, and supper for our ACES kids, totally free. The only thing they asked from us in our community is the income verification forms. So those are one of the forms that I sent out to with the mutual promise paperwork. Parents I've been asking all parents just to bring it into the office so that I can review it, go through it, and make sure everything's filled out correctly. So for all the parents that already have brought it in, thank you. You guys have been all filling it out correctly, and I'm very, very proud. So the purpose behind that is because we have to have everyone to keep this program going. And to keep it on campus just for many reasons. So if you want to switch over, Ms. Webb, to the next slide for me. We can go to the form. All right, so this is what the form looks like. Obviously on the top, it'll say Grow Academy. So if you have, for example, you'll list your children, school-age children on the top, put their last name, middle name, first name, school they're attending, whether it's GA Shafter or Shafter High, or any school that they go to, you'll put just the school name right there, their birthday and their grade level. Now, when you get to the bottom, the second part, it'll ask you the household size. So if you're a family of 4 and you make between 36,000, you'll circle the 4 and then you'll check off on the category 2 where it's in between the range of the household. So the household income is between mom and dad or whoever is the person that works in the household. If you have grandparents that live at home with your family, they are also included in the number. So please make sure you include that number when you circle on the household side. If your income is not in that range, you'll just check where it says if your total annual household income exceeds the ranges above, you'll just check there, and it'll have a sign where you sign it right at the bottom. This is something that we do need from every family. So as I'm getting them, we have to cross off that we received it. As you know, there was, in the state of California, there was a program that was approved for free lunches for all students, but this is this is also another form that we get other funding as well with the information that we get from this form. So we still have to collect it and we still file it because we get audited and stuff like that, and we have to report certain information that we get from this form. So it's very, very important that we collect them. So on to the next one. Okay, so parent communication. So obviously you guys got the link for this meeting through Parent Square. So it's very important just keep to date with Parent Square as we sent out as much as I can. As you all know, I've had this cell phone since the beginning, since the school was built. So I'm always texting parents if I can't get a hold of you for some reason. I understand the majority of you guys work. So I will send you a text for if I need to reach you for any reason. So it's probably me. We'll keep up with the weekly newsletter every Sunday, just to kind of give you an at a glance of what goes on throughout the week and give you guys informed. The one thing I cannot stress to you all enough, if you move, if you switch, if your email changes, if your cell phone changes, something like that changes, you please call the office and let us know. It's very crucial that we know this information, just because right before, a couple of days before school starts, I go into our system and I print out the template of emergency contacts. So if that is not up to date, and God forbid something happens and something changes in your contacts, whatever the case may be, I have whatever we have. If we don't know any changes, it's not updated in these binders that I keep as hard copies. If in case of an emergency, we don't have access to technology for whatever reason, I rely on these binders that I carry with all of our kiddos' information. So it's very important that all the information stays up to date. I made it very easy for all parents this year. I printed out the emergency contact and I just added a paper said, please glance at it. If no changes, just click no changes, and that's it. So it's very, very important. I cannot stress, just please keep us in the loop if any changes happens at home, phone numbers, addresses, anything like that, because it's very crucial that we stay on top of it for the safety of their kids and also to help us communicate with you all better. All right, so this part I am so excited because I didn't get to do any of it last year. Parent engagement. So we asked for parents to complete 30 hours a year. Obviously, with COVID restrictions and such and so forth, we were not able to do it last year. So I'm very excited that we get to bring back a little bit of normality back to our school year. So I will be working closely with Ms. Webb and Ms. Harris to really talk about family participation and opportunities we can have coming up in the school year, and getting everybody looped in and kind of get everybody going, engines going, and working on those hours. So just a reminder, 15 hours can be accrued by donations. Let's say your classroom needs popsicle sticks for a project. If you bring a package of popsicle sticks, that's 1 hour that goes towards those 15 hours. And then the other 15 hours are through parents coming in for meetings, let's say APTT meetings, literacy night, what is it? Day of the Dead. Stuff like that, fun activities. Even if you just bring your kiddos just to enjoy the afternoon, you get credit for the hours that you complete. I am very hopeful that at the end of the year, we have a parent appreciation event like we did right before the pandemic started, to really celebrate you guys and what you guys accomplished by really being involved in your kiddos' education. So we are bringing this back. So we will start pushing out information as soon as we start planning things together, and then looking really forward to just bringing back that little piece that made GA so special. So I'm really, really excited about that. Alrighty, do you want to go to the next one? Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stop just real quick because there's a lot of chat going on about sexual orientation and is that being taught in the schools. I want to make it very clear that depending on the grade level, the state of California does require and has put parameters in place for sexual education class. Same 25 years ago when I was in school and much further past then. I want to make it very clear that parents always have the opportunity to opt out of that, and you will always be notified when that part of a curriculum is to come in your child's education. It is not something that is just, you know, a part of social studies class on a Thursday. So please know that we are very, very, I'm a parent too, and I have my own personal you know, thoughts and beliefs and ideals about the positioning of, you know, all of this, and as an educator as well. But rest assured that these conversations and topics, you will receive notification, and the review of the curriculum that we use. Hopefully we'll be able to have like an in-person parent meeting ahead of time that typically takes place as well. But I encourage any of you at any time to reach out to myself or Miss Davis about these very specific questions that you have about your children's education. As a mother and parent and educator, I completely understand where your concern is coming from in regards, you know, regardless of your position. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick because there's a lot of like personal conversation going on about thoughts and feelings in the chat. And so from an educational standpoint, parents always have the right and voice in the educational topics that your children receive. Okay. There you go, I changed the slide.
Okay, so the important packets that I sent out to you guys, one of them was a health update packets. That is to let Nurse Bonnie know of any health changes, if your child developed any allergies, if there are any medication, any medical conditions that we need to be aware of. That is very crucial that that gets turned in, because that is where Nurse Bonnie updates everything that she needs to update for your kiddos. I also included medication forms, because if a student has to take medication throughout the day, we have to have an MD sign that form giving us consent to give that medication on campus. So and the medication has to be in its box with their name on it. So this includes also inhalers as well. It's just we need that form in order to administer that medication, and also for EpiPens as well. I included that form as well. If you have any questions regarding that, please reach out to us, reach out to Nurse Bonnie as well. We're more than happy to give you guys a little more guidance when it comes to that and help you guys in what you need. We also, like I said, I included the student information of student emergency contact forms. That is also needs to be updated or just reviewed. Dismissal forms. So this dismissal form I've been inputting as the first parents that started turning them in. I started inputting, creating my walker pickup list. So if I do not have this form indicating that your child is a walker, I will have them down as a pickup for their safety. Unless that indicates that they're specifically a walker or a pickup, you have to designate it and you have to sign it. Also keep in mind, if your student is being picked up by any family member, they have to be over 18. It does not matter if you're in the car outside and you send your teenager to get your child. I will not release that student to you because nothing guarantees me that you're in the car. So please keep in mind that a parent or someone on the emergency contact form has to sign out your child and they have to be over 18. Photo releases. We included the photo release for minors because children are minors and we do, Facebook Lives, we take pictures for birthdays, just so forth. Because they are minors, I need your guys' consent. If you guys wish for your child not to be taking pictures of or on Facebook Live for whatever reason, just indicate no on the corner and then sign and put your student's name and we will file that and we will make sure your child is not, photographed for whatever reason. Like I said, household income forms, that's also that we need that back, and the mutual promise paperwork as well. All these packets are due to the school office by next Wednesday, July 28th. By then I will hopefully gone through all 800 of them. So I will go through them. If I am missing any crucial information, we will start calling, we will start texting, because all that information we need to have by the first day of school. I had spoken to Ms. Webb about this, that I really wanted to send it out before this meeting so you guys have ample time to fill this out, and if you have any questions, and give us the opportunity to review it in adequate time. So please, if you have it ready, please come by and drop it off. The school is open from 7:30 to 4 every day. I'm here, Ms. Crystal, Ms. Adriana, Nurse Bonnie, we're all here to answer any questions that you may have. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. And I'm so excited to have everybody back.
I know. Question about, can forms be turned in a little later because of doctor's appointments? Turn in what you have? Communicate with the office? Do you think?
Sure. Yeah, turn in what you have. I'm kind of confused why doctor's appointments.
I don't know, maybe like the kindergarten. Like,
no, they already.
Or any, okay.
They're in. If your child, I know what it is. If your child needs their shots for 7th grade and the appointment is until after school starts, please bring us an appointment card so that we have it on file, saying that is going to be done. And also reach out to Nurse Bonnie so we note it in our system as well. That's the only thing I can think of, because kinders, they have to have everything done before kinder camp, and the majority do. So shout out to my kinder parents, they did a good job this year.
Okay, lots of yay for shade. Just so there's talk going on about approval for shade structures. We have beautiful shade structures coming that are going to provide a ton of shade. I mean, almost literally in every area on campus as an extension of our learning environment. So huge shade structure that's going to go from kindergarten into the garden. Conversely, on the other side, from 4th grade into the garden, almost in front of the entire cafe space. So from our ESY kitchen down to the cafe, and a beautiful sail structure that's going to go into the big concrete area in front of middle school and middle school amp, that area there. So we are super excited. They have already come out to mark the ground for placement of the footings, and we are very hopeful that we can get that shade up over fall break. As of our last check-in, of course, we were really hopeful that it would happen over the summer, right? Well, it's hot, but unfortunately, the shade pieces themselves are not available right now. So so I'm very hopeful that maybe we're at a point in the fall that we can have a big you know, some sort of like the family barbecue or a celebration to get people on campus and to see the shade structure and to use them. So I'm excited for the shade as well. So I'm trying to catch up. Opportunities for like coffee and conversation in small groups to happen. We are looking into that. And yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna move on and then we'll catch up with the chat here in a minute. Okay. So safety during an emergency, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Davis and Miss Irene and Miss Bonnie too for the chat comments. So safety during an emergency. A couple of things that I do want to touch on before we wrap up the evening is, you know, we did have an event, a couple on this year on campus that required us to go into a lockdown situation and also a lockout situation. The difference between the two, a lockout is that the threat is not on campus. So something's happening in the community and we're just going to keep our doors locked and you know, continue teaching in the classroom, but draw the shades and take every possible prevention possible in the event that it gets closer to us. A lockdown is when there is a possible threat on campus. So for example, if somebody were to hop the fence for whatever reason, we go on lockdown because we don't know. That did happen this year. And it was something as simple as they were retrieving a ball. I mean, they were throwing like it was a weird situation. All I knew is that somebody was coming over the fence and we went on lockdown. So we always take every precaution available because we don't know, right? So we need those first few moments to assess the situation. And then of course we had a situation, you know, involving Lerdo that we didn't know, and so we did go and lock out of that too. So some of these things, as soon as the campus is secure, a message will be sent out via Parent Square. I did get a concern regarding how come you didn't let us know immediately. So just so you know, in those moments, it is second by second. My background is in law enforcement, and in those moments, we are communicating with police. We are trying to see, you know, is it like, how serious is the threat? We are communicating with each other. We're making sure like we're in go mode, right? Everybody's out. We're trying to get kids in classrooms. And so that's the reason why we're not available in the heat of the moment to message out. As a parent myself, I understand, but the safety and security of the campus always comes first, and we will let you know just as soon as possible, you know, what is going on. So that's the reason why it will go out via Parent Square. So another reason why it's important to have that on your phone or notifications set on your phone to receive those. We ask that you please do not call the campus. We only have one line in, and so if parents are flooding, you know, and understandably, especially with the situation that happened this year, like, are you guys shutting down? Do you know this is going on? We know that it comes from a place of love and concern for us and for your children, but it also blocks the communication availability for us to have conversations, you know, with law enforcement or with first responders. So please just keep that in mind as well. Also, do not call your child. Something to take into mind also is that if there is a threat on campus and we're trying to stay low and quiet, and we have cell phones like vibrating or somebody didn't shut it down and it goes off, that could be an indicator. So, you know, it really is important that you know, in the heat of those moments, that we keep all the communication at a minimum. Also, please, you guys know the situation on campus with the one-way in back here, and just how congested we get very early on. If we have everybody coming to campus, our first responders might not be able to access the campus or our scholars or those who are in need. So we ask that you please not come to campus so that they have access. Emergency situations can occur beyond the school day, so it is possible that if we go on lockdown, we might not be able to lift that until 6 o'clock at night, or just depending on the situation. So please be mindful that, like, oh, it's 4 o'clock and it's dismissal. A lockdown is a lockdown, and if it's not safe to release students, we might have to go past those times. Your child will only be released to persons on the emergency contact list. Ms. Irene just did a fantastic job of explaining in detail what that means. And then identification is always required to check your scholar out of school anytime that it is not a regular dismissal time. So if there is a situation where we go beyond the school day, and I'm sure that you can understand the importance of us ensuring who we release your children to. So, so I wanted to address that just because we did have a couple situations this year. I have met with Captain Bell. I do know Chief Zimmerman from my law enforcement days as well. And so we do keep close communication with Chapter PD. They run thick and they are fantastic. And so we do have plans in place regarding, are you guys going to call us for a lockdown? Do we need to call you? Like, we've had sit-down conversations about that. So I'm very pleased with our relationship with the Schechter Police Department. They do a fantastic job partnering with us and the community to keep our scholars safe. Okay, and here it is, the calendar. So I do want to address, Ms. Davis did a great job of explaining the rationale behind the organizational shift from Friday to Wednesday. A lot of chat about this. We did have a lot of conversation. It is not currently board approved. I had it here at the end of the slide to share with you as a heads up that this change is most certainly coming, but your voice does matter. And so I absolutely will share this out. But I did want to give you a heads up because this is the board. This is the current board approved. We do have a board meeting on Monday regarding the change, but I wanted to give you as much time possible to potentially make accommodations for childcare, have conversations in your home before this is, well, just as much time as possible. So, so I hope that answers some of your questions regarding why the shift. The shift to Wednesdays is for the professional development of the educators, and so as soon as an official decision has been made and finalized, that will go out via Parent Square as well. But you are absolutely right. Those of you, we did send this calendar out. This is the calendar that was board approved in February. It's been shared out in the office. It's what went home in the mutual promise. So you are absolutely right in terms of this decision was just recently made. And so it's not, the correction has not been made yet in terms of that Wednesday day. So I do apologize. It is very important to me that we communicate to you the most current and accurate information so that you can plan accordingly with your family. And it was not ever our intent to send a calendar to you that was not up to date. It was the most up to date calendar we had when it went out. So, so I hope those answered some of your questions. Okay. Okay. And again, I will make all of the chat accessible for review as well. So here we go to our mutual promise. Our mutual promise, as it always has been, is to ensure that every child can succeed. We know this. It might be at different rates and at different times, but man, when that light bulb goes on, those kiddos take off. And so we will do everything in our power to ensure that all children can and will succeed. Every family can be engaged. Man, that was a challenge last year, and for me, a struggle too, like hearing Miss Irene get so excited about Dia de los Muertos and like all of the things that we used to be able to do. And so I felt so robbed not being able to be a part of that last year, but it's coming and we're going to fight and we're going to do everything possible to get those opportunities back on.
Oh, you wait, our parents are good. It's so much fun.
Okay, and every community can flourish. Okay, so aside from all of the things that we discussed this evening, GA will accomplish this by providing high quality instruction. We've already made purchases for some streamlined standards-based curriculum for the upcoming year, partnering with parents and guardians to support student academic achievement. We've talked about the meetings with student success team and the review of individualized learning plans, supporting the whole child. So we talked a little bit about the addition of a full-time and part-time school psychologist this year, implementing on our Wednesdays all of our SEL curriculum. We have multiple days this year of support for our educators to become more familiar with the SEL curriculum. So, just really addressing that need in our children. We talked about our restorative approach to behaviors as well. Providing appropriate, meaningful, expanded learning opportunities. So this means, at home and also via ACEs. So I'm excited to offer ACEs. We are really looking at the development and evolution of our ACEs program to really include expanded learning, a lot more hands-on project-based opportunities, chess clubs, robotic clubs, those kinds of things, literacy clubs, so that it's so it is enhancing the instructional day as well. And then of course reviewing this agreement with our scholars. From our littles to our bigs, it is important that they know that these are the things that we are committed to ensuring their success. So for our GA families, supporting high expectations for both academics and behavior, partnering with staff to support student academic achievement, arriving to school on time and excusing absences when they do occur. We talked about communicating often and regularly with the office and with teachers and with administration to support each other, ensuring scholars attend the entire day, sending my child to school in proper school uniform, ensuring here's one thing we did not really address is ensuring appropriateness of free dress days. So I love a good dress up day. You'll see me in a unicorn outfit out front or dressed up as a hula girl. In pajama days are amazing. But the days where we have free dress, we do ask that you make sure that you're sending to your kiddos to school still covered modestly, no bellies showing, no tears in distressed jeans or short shorts or spaghetti straps, that they are adhering to a modest attire. Supporting the healthy food program. So really looking at what your scholars bring to school. One thing that we talk about the kiddos with is that if they being here at GA was new. I mean, contraband to me used to mean something completely different, and now contraband is like a Snickers or some Takis, right? So we're having conversations about food, and so if what you bring to school is open, it will be disposed of for sanitation purposes, and of course parent communication will be, but if it is closed, we will call parents and it can be picked up. So we do want to be mindful of not being wasteful as well. And then reviewing this agreement with your scholars as well. So we ask that you help us by sharing the expectations with your scholars and talking to them regularly as well. And here it is. Our mutual promise together is that every child can succeed. Every family can be engaged. Every community can flourish. And together we will give our children the future they deserve. So I'm so excited for the upcoming year, moving forward, opening back up, and really seeing everybody back on campus and our children really thriving in the environment that we provide for them. So are there any final thoughts or questions in the chat? Ladies, I haven't been able to
apologize. I think that we are doing great. Lots of wishes for a calendar. So that is great feedback and something that we will be sure to communicate out that's easily accessible so that we can move into getting back into all of our old traditions and really rebuilding that strong home to school and community connection that we all missed last year and that we love so much about Grow Schools. So thank you, parents, for all of your feedback and ways that we can continue to serve you as best as possible. You are deeply appreciated, and we are so happy that we are having the freedom to do the things that we need to do to serve you as effectively as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Okay, I want to thanks again for attending Mutual Promise with us, and I am so excited. Again, can you tell that I'm so excited about the upcoming school year? I think I've said it maybe 50 times tonight. I really am. I'm just so looking forward to getting back to having our families on campus and celebrating all of our scholars in a traditional way that we're all used to. So that's coming and more to come. Thank you, Ms. Harris, for joining us tonight too. I'm so excited to have you here tomorrow, and I hope everybody has a great evening. Please reach out to us anytime for anything. I absolutely look forward to seeing you in the days to come and chatting with you soon. Pretty. Take care, everybody. Good night.